The ulama, they say that the greatest reward of Jannah is to see the face of Allah. And the greatest punishment in the hellfire is that they will be concealed and that they will be withheld and they will not be allowed to see the face of Allah. Because that means that this is now utterly, that they have been made distant from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That they're not even allowed to see Allah, whilst the believers are allowed to see Allah. Then what does that entail? That entails Allah's anger, Allah's displeasure, and Allah's hatred of them. Nas'alullah al-afiyah. That we do not, of course, ever wish to be in that situation, because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, that the kuffar on that day, they will be mahjubun, that they will be veiled from seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the believers, as for the believers, then imagine, after they have been given everything that they have been given in Jannah, and they have been given whatever their hearts desire, then Allah will say to them, is there anything more? Is there a ziyada that I can give you? Then they will say, oh Allah, did you not enter us into your Jannah? Oh Allah, did you not illuminate our faces? Oh Allah, did you not give us whatever our hearts desired? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove the veil between him and Ahlul Jannah. Between them and Allah, there will be no veil. And then, when they look at their Lord, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that they will never have been given anything more beloved to them than that. Imagine, you get everything that your heart desires in Jannah. You can even imagine now. But you can't truly imagine, because no heart can perceive Jannah. No eye has ever seen Jannah. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, that it is unimaginable. It is something that no eyes have seen and no heart can perceive. The flavors of the foods, as Ahlul Ilm have mentioned, yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions figs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the liver of the whale. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the fruits and the clothing and the drink and the water and the rivers of wine and the rivers of milk and the rivers of honey and so on. That all of this is mentioned. But this is a mentioning to heighten our desire for Jannah. Not that the rivers of wine will taste like the wine of this world. Not like the water there will taste like the water here. How can the water there taste like the water here when you take one drink and you're never thirsty again? How can it be the same? How can the women of this world be described or compared to the women of Jannah? How can the husbands, the woman who gets her husband in Jannah, how can he be comparable to the husband of this life? Even though the women will get the husband that they were married to in finality. That the husband that they die upon, that is their husband in Jannah. But with the husband that they will receive in Jannah, they will recognize him to be the husband that they were married to in this world, so long as he was a believer and he enters into Jannah. But he's not comparable in beauty. The man of this world, you don't compare him to the beauty of the man in Jannah. The woman of Jannah, how can she be compared to the women of this world? That's why the Prophet ﷺ said that just the veil of the woman of Jannah, that if it was to enter into this world, then it would illuminate this world up until Qiyamah. That's just the veil of the woman, never mind the woman herself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, gives similitudes. That yes, you will get a woman, and the woman is real, of course, for the believers. And the husband, that you'll get the husband that you have in this world. But he'll be unimaginably beautiful. You can't imagine how beautiful your husband will be. And the husbands, you can't imagine how beautiful your wife will be. If your wife was righteous in this world, and you were the husband that she died upon, then she is your wife in Jannah. And she'll be the head of the Hurul Ain in Jannah. And she'll be beautiful and pious. And in fact, every Jum'ah, Allah will make her even more beautiful. As the Prophet ﷺ said, that the men will leave out of their homes. I call them homes very loosely speaking, because in reality they are palaces that are made out of bricks of gold, cement of musk, floor of brocade, garments of silk. That's what the men of Jannah will be wearing. boys at hand to serve you, trees that reach out to you, trunks made out of gold, branches that are so huge that it will take a horse 100 years to leave the shade of the tree. Unimaginable beauties, tents made out of hollowed out pearls on the banks of the rivers, that if you have a family in one side, they will not be able to see the family that you have on the other side. So the men leave out of their homes on Yawmul Jum'ah, on a Friday, to a marketplace where they gather. And then a soft breeze will blow over their bodies. That will beautify them even further. So when they return home to their wives, and their wives, they welcome them, those wives will say to them, "Oh my husband, you have come back more beautiful than you were before you left." And when he sees her, whilst he was away, Allah beautified her. And he will say to her, "You are more beautiful than you were before I left." So you will never become bored in Jannah, never become tired. These are the rewards of Jannah. So imagine a person is given, and then on top of that your heart's desire. Like sometimes you ask the children, "What do you want in Jannah?" He says, "I want a Ferrari. Or I want a Lamborghini, or I want, whatever, or I want, a ton of sweets and chocolates." So whatever the heart's desire, however beautiful you want your wife to be, the types of clothing that you wish to wear. So Allah gives you everything. Land, property, palaces, hollowed out tents of pearls, rivers, flowing with wine and honey and milk and water. On top of that, Allah asks you, and inshallah, you're in the company of the prophets. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, that those وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. That those who obey Allah and His Messenger, whose company will they be in? The prophets, and the truthful ones, and the martyrs, and the righteous. In the company of these types of men and women, in the company of them, then Allah asks you, "Do you want more?" Just like the last one who's entered from the hellfire, he's taken out. After he's burnt to a cinder, then he's taken out of the hellfire. What does Allah give him? Allah enters him into Jannah. He says, "Jannah is yours." And 10 times the dominion of the earth is yours. The likes of the earth and 10 times more than it. Multiply it by 10, it is yours in Jannah. And that's for the last one who enters into Jannah. So what about the first? What about those who come with piety? What about those who are alongside the prophets and the messengers? That you're walking in Jannah and you see Musa and Isa and Yahya and Ibrahim and Harun and Dawood and Sulaiman and Adam. And you see the martyrs the likes of Sumayya radiallahu anha. And you see the likes of Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib. And you see Mus'ab bin Umair. You see the Shuhada and you see the Siddiqeen. You see the likes of Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and other than them. Even that, imagine what that does to the hearts. That's enough to forget your wife. Not that you will. But you see, this is what you have in Jannah, and then Allah says to you, "Do you want more? Is there ziyada?" So it's no wonder that the believers, because they're pious, in their minds they can't imagine anything greater than this. Allah, did you not enter us into Jannah? Did you not illuminate our faces? Did you not give us whatever we wish for? Then Allah will remove the hijab between Him and them. And they would not have been given anything better than that. So what can be better than that? And you can see what else you're given. How can we not therefore, after knowing that, strive? Not worship? Thinking that this dunya, what's this dunya then? That's why the Prophet ﷺ said what he said. You can see why he said what he said. What do I have to do with this dunya? Because he knows what is in Jannah. What do I have to do with this dunya? Nothing. Even though we get caught up and we think, our houses are constricted and my car's breaking down. Of course, these are things that bother us because we're human beings. But the vision is fixed because we want to meet Muhammad, and we want to meet Ibrahim, and we want to meet Yaqub, and we want to meet Yusuf, and we want to meet Dawood, and we want to meet the likes of Yahya and Zakaria, and we want to meet our mothers, the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We want to meet the Sahaba. This is the companionship. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. And what an excellent companionship that is. Never mind the houses, gold, bricks, and what you're wearing, the clothing, unimaginable. The food that you're eating, unimaginable. Barakallahu feekum. So this is our goal, and understanding, and this is why understanding the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it places love in the hearts of desiring that Jannah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us. Insha'Allah for us. If Allah enters us into that Jannah and makes us righteous, and may Allah make us from the righteous. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.